4 weeks ago, I quit a really well paying job as an ethical hacker to try to build something of my own. And in this video, I want to give you an update on how things are going, some of the wins, and some of the areas that I need to improve. But hey, if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Tyler Ramsby. I am building two companies from the ground up, or sort of from the basement up. The first is Hack Smarter. We have hands-on labs and courses that you can actually afford in the field of ethical hacking. And the second is KairosSec, a boutique pen testing firm, which means clients hire us to hack them before the bad guys do. We do all kinds of pen testing. Links to both of the companies or businesses are in the description of this video. But first, let's talk about some of the wins over the past 4 weeks. Win number one, and honestly, this was one of, if not my biggest concern, is finances are actually going really well. Between KairosSec and Hack Smarter, I've actually outperformed significantly what my target was for this month. So that's a huge win. On the Hack Smarter side of things, I'm continuing to release labs and courses and content. And on the KairosSec side of things, I've actually spent most of the month on an internal pen test in an Active Directory environment. So it's been amazing. Be able to kick things off, already have jobs and work lined up. Number two, another big win is it's a much more sustainable pace, which I know sounds a little bit crazy because generally speaking, if you quit your job to build your own business, you're going to work more hours than you did before. And I would say that's true 99% of the time. What was probably unique about me is I was already building at least Hack Smarter. I wasn't really building KairosSec yet, but I was already building Hack Smarter while working full time for another company. And as a result of that, my time was severely restricted and limited. I had no other choice but to work your traditional hours from about 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I worked every single night, basically with no days off, from about 8 p.m. to midnight or 1 a.m. Basically, I'd wait till my kids go to bed and I'd be back on my computer and work throughout the evening because there's always more work to be done on the Hack Smarter side of things, on creating courses, on creating content. And I did it, but that pace simply is not sustainable. And so when I mentioned that I was going to quit my job to work full time for myself, most of the comments were like, Tyler, if you think you're going to be working less hours, you are insane. And here's the thing, I literally could not work more hours than I already was when I was balancing my, W-2 job alongside of all these side things I was trying to do. So I'm still working a significant amount of hours, but the fact that I have the freedom to kind of determine my schedule and to fill things in when I need them, it is a much more sustainable pace. Just to be totally blunt, my previous pace of working full time and then streaming and making content literally every single night, 7 days a week, that is not sustainable. I was able to push, I was able to do it, but doing that long term will definitely lead to burnout and it will not lead to success. Win number three is I'm building some really cool partnerships with other organizations, other MSPs, other cybersecurity companies. And this is important. If you ever want to do pen testing on your own, the biggest challenge, of course, is finding clients. And the best way to find those first few clients is to build partnerships with different vendors who need pen testing services who can refer clients to you. So actually the internal engagement I am on for this month is a direct referral from a local company who knew a company who needed a pen test. That's where connections and networking are so important. I have a few other companies that I've been meeting with this week and previous weeks, and we have kind of partnerships set up, and they have clients that need pen testing, and they're going to be referring clients to KairosSec so we can begin really building that list of clients. Finally, number four, another big win is in addition to that, we have some pen tests lined up. So I shared with you all of October for the most part. I've been doing an internal Active Directory pen test. And then looking at Q1 in 2026, we already have a handful of pen tests lined up and signed and more that are pending, just waiting on a few details from the client. So the pen testing side of things is actually going better than I was expecting. I'll be honest with you, I did not have super high hopes on the pen testing. I assumed it would take a few years to really get that off the ground, and it likely will take a lot of time to get it fully off the ground, but we have more clients than I was expecting, and I'm incredibly excited to work with them. And hey, real quick promo, if you work for a company and you need a pen test in Q4, we do have like 1 or 2 openings for Q4. I think those are going to get filled rather quick. We also are wide open for 2026. So I would love to work with you personally. Once again, the link is in the description of this video to KairosSec if you are looking for a pen tester going into 2026. So those are the wins. But I told you from the beginning that as I build these 2 companies, I'm going to try to build them out in the public to share with you the good things as well as the areas that I need to improve. So there's probably a lot more areas here, but I highlighted the top 3 things that I need to work on as I build these businesses. Number 1 is time management, which for those of you who follow me, that might seem a little bit strange because generally speaking, I'm pretty good at managing my time. I like to think of myself as very disciplined when it comes to setting a schedule and maintaining deadlines. Like I have never missed a deadline on my courses, on my content. When I say something's going to be released, I think every single time I've released it 1 day early as a thank you to those who follow me on this journey. What I mean by time management is what I'm beginning to recognize is my time is significantly more valuable than money. And one thing that I've noticed as I become a founder or CEO, if you even want to give me that title, the CEO of, myself and my own couple of companies that I am building, is more and more people want to have meetings with me to talk about sometimes really good things, but a lot of the meetings are like, hey, how can I use Tyler in some way to promote their product or to sell something to me? And I in the beginning was saying yes to like every single meeting, like, yeah, I would love to meet. Like I feel important. But here's the thing, guys, meetings can be incredibly draining when your work is highly technical. So I shared before, I am on an internal pen test. And let's say I'm working on this pen test and in the middle of the day, I have a meeting. It takes me a lot of time to go from preparing for that meeting to talking to communicating to going back to the pen test, and it's not giving the client the best value. So what I'm learning to say is just no to 99% of the requests to meet with me. Not because I want to be a jerk, but at the end of the day, there are a few things that only I can do, and spending time in meeting after meeting after meeting is not the best use of my time. Once again, I can make more money. I cannot make more time. And so as of now, I'm only accepting meetings that make sense strategically and that are beneficial for me and for the other person. So if you've reached out to me and you're like, Tyler, can we meet? And I said, no, it's nothing personal, but you have to keep in mind, I am quite literally building 2 businesses from scratch. To say I am fully slammed on my time would be an understatement. See, in addition to KairosSec and Hack Smarter, I'm also doing contract work for TCM Security. I'm teaching for them all the time. I'm doing training for a few other companies. I have other random contract work that I'm doing in order to just pay my personal bills. And I cannot just keep adding more meetings to my calendar. Work needs to be done. So unless the meeting is strategic and actually worthwhile, I'm probably going to tell you no as I try to figure out a good balance for this. But that's something I haven't done well. And that goes to point number 2. I need to say no to more things. Not just me, but you probably do as well. Right? When people ask us for something or want us to speak at an event or want some type of assistance, it feels amazing. And I genuinely want to help every single person that reaches out to me. But here's the thing. I literally cannot, unless there's a way, maybe I could do it with AI and multiply myself, but I don't want people to be speaking to the AI version of Tyler. But a lot of wisdom comes from saying no. A lot of wisdom comes from knowing it's okay to disappoint people at times for your own mental, emotional health, or if you're building a business for your business's health. A lot of wisdom and success is found in identifying when to say no, which I would argue you should say no to most requests that you get, and having the wisdom to know when to say yes and commit your time and energy to another endeavor, especially if it's outside of your core area that you're working on right now. So that's a big thing that I suck at. I want people to be happy. I want people to be happy with me. And so I tend to say yes, yes, yes. Then I overcommit myself, and then I end up disappointing myself and likely disappointing them because they're not getting the best version of me. So I really need to learn how to say no a lot more than I am doing right now. And a third area of improvement is I've noticed I'm far too glued to my phone. And I have this failure to actually disconnect. I shared in one of the first videos that I made is I wanted to practice at least a weekly Sabbath. Now, even if you're not religious, Sabbath isn't necessarily a religious term, but to Sabbath means to disconnect from your day-to-day work, to reconnect with the things and the people and the relationships that matter the most. And so for me, this is like a Saturday or a Sunday, depending on the weekend. And what I want to do is like put my phone down in a room, not look at it, not touch it, and just be fully present to my family, to nature, and to all of those good things, and to my faith as well. And I haven't been doing that. I have found myself constantly like scroll, 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 glue. Let me respond to this Discord message. Let me try to fix this support ticket right now on the spot because I want to provide good customer service. But what I recognize is if people have to wait, 12 hours before they hear back from me, that's still incredible customer service. I don't have to respond within minutes of them reaching out to me, which is what I generally do right now. And so that's an area I need to work on. I have found myself becoming over reliant on my phone, on this smartphone social media addiction, which at the end of the day, I really do think can kill you. Like social media can really zap your mental, emotional, spiritual health when you're not fully present to the people around you who actually matter. But overall, guys, it's going really well. Another big win I forgot to share is I paid myself for the first time. So I was able to pay myself my paycheck for the month of October. So I'm paid. Amazing. We made it through October. Finances are looking really well between the different endeavors that I have going on. And I'm slowly building these companies to the point that I really think they already are amazing and they're going to be even more amazing in the future. So, hey, I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who are taking the time to be on this journey with me. Seriously, you are amazing, and I'll try to make more videos like this at least once a month, giving you a high-level overview of what is going well and what are some areas that I need to improve. Hey, thank you so much. If you have any questions, if you have any feedback, heck, if you have any advice, any wisdom, I would love to hear from you. Believe it or not, I do my best to read all the comments in my videos. So leave a comment below. We'll continue the conversation there. Thank you guys. Happy hacking.